For accounting, it's all numbers.
Yes.
Like, is it a art or is it a science?
I think it's a bit of both. It's science because there are a set rule of principles that we follow.
Has social media or TikTok ruined the financial world, ruined the real financial advice?
I think it has helped a lot of people to get to terms with financial jargons, get to know some very technical terms when it comes to accounting and taxation.
How often should people review their finances, especially as a business owner?
Well, as a business owner, I would say that if it's a small corporation where you have very fixed income sources, your expenses are very limited. Even if you look at it once in a year, it's fine. But businesses which have multiple income sources, you have heavy overheads. There is payroll, there is GST liability, there is WSIB. It's extremely important to review your finances on a monthly basis.
So, what advice you would give to any new business owners? Any tips you would like to share?
The first thing is when you start a new business, people often overlook this thing that you have to have a proper bookkeeping.
What's your brutal advice on crypto? And from an accountant point of view, not from the personal point of view.
As an accountant, I would say that only if you're ready to lose the money that you're investing, go for it.
Unfiltered Talk with Supreet is a go-to podcast for Canadians looking to learn and grow. Today, I'm very excited. We have among us an accountant. She's been helping me out through all my business ventures, through ups and downs, and I'm very excited to introduce you to her. She's from MSPS CPA Professional Corporation. She has worked for Scotia for so long. They came in 2018 to the country, and now she's has her own business venture. She's a CPA, and her husband, he's a CPA as well. That together they have a CPA firm. None other than Mohita Shah. केम छो मोहिता बहन?
एकदम मजा सुप्रीत भाई.
क्या बात है, इतनी आती है मेरे को गुजराती. इसके आगे मुश्किल होगा.
Thank you so much for having me here. I was so looking forward to this, and it's a pleasure to be here.
No, honestly, pleasure is mine. Let's get right into it. How's your journey been in Canada? You came in 2018. You worked for Scotiabank for 6-7 years.
Yes.
And now you have a CPA firm along with your husband. How's your journey been?
I'm a chartered accountant from India. And this is a profession that was selected for me by my father. He is my inspiration and he picked up on my passion for accounting. So I became a chartered accountant in India and I worked for Reliance Industries Limited and Citibank for around 7 years in India. Once I got my PR, me and my husband Prateek, we moved to Canada in 2018. We were very lucky to get a good exposure here in banking industry because both of us had a banking background back in India where we were helping all global teams in Citibank. So we leveraged our experience in India, our degree in India. I started working for Scotiabank. And Prateek, my husband, he started working for RBC. But somewhere at the back of my mind, I always thought that I missed my professional designation here in Canada. So we both started working for our CPA designation here. It's a final exam that you have to appear for. So I cleared mine in 2020. And my husband cleared it in 2019. He always had a passion for, helping out people with their tax queries, their accounting queries. So when he cleared his CPA, what he started is he started helping close group of friends and families with their tax returns, their benefits and everything. And what started as a small passion, I think it turned into a full-blown profession. By 2024, it was at a place where we both had to quit our full-time jobs and pursue this profession of being full-time tax consultants. It's been a long journey, but I cherish every step of the way that we have taken together. And today, I think every day is a blessing when you get to help people with their finances, with their tax queries. And I look forward to this journey.
That's amazing. And I think the best part is two of you are working together,
Yes.
right, as a one team. So, how challenging it was coming from India and appearing for the CPA exam here in Canada?
I think we were very fortunate because between India and Canada, there is a treaty that you have to submit your documents, they do assessment, they look at your experience back in India and what you have here. And if all the criterias are fulfilled, you just have to appear for a final exam, which is a 3-day exam where you have to work on different case laws, answer questions. And once you complete that, you get your professional designation. So I think the exam patterns are very different between what we studied back in India and what it's here. It helps you to get more practical knowledge on what to expect in this country with this tax laws. The basic laws of accounting stay the same, but I think for taxation, for audit, I think you have to refresh your knowledge, be on top of the game. So I think it's if you have a designation back in India, it's just a final exam that you have to clear here, but otherwise it's like a 4-year journey. So we were very fortunate that our journey was very small, we just had to upgrade it.
So, was it like 6 months, 1 year?
It's completely up to you. You get around 6 months to a year, and
Mhm.
you get to prepare on your own, and it's just a 3-day full exam that you have to work on.
So, what kind of clients you guys take and any challenges that you would like to highlight?
So basically, we have individuals and we have small and medium business owners. Both of them have their own set of challenges. When it comes to individuals who come to us for their personal tax filing, for their benefit returns, for them, the thing is to get optimum returns and get answers to small questions like, am I eligible for this benefit? Sometimes what happens is at the end of the year, there's a tax payable. They need to understand why there is a payable. They need to understand if they are eligible for this tax rebate or refund, because sometimes there is a lot of things going on which says that you can you're eligible for benefits up to $2,000, but every tax profile is different. So for them, the challenge is to understand where do they fall in that spectrum of benefits. When it comes to small and medium business owners, I think for them the most challenging thing is to get timely advice very quickly, very efficiently. So if you have a business, it's very important for you to understand, say for example, you want to buy a car, whether you should buy it in your corporation or in your personal name. If you have a corporation, do you go for salary or dividends? What do you do with funds in your corporation? How do you withdraw it? How do you invest it? So there are a lot of questions. Instead of getting post-mortem results, I think for them, what's more important is to stay ahead of the curve, to know
Mhm.
how they can save on taxes, how they can optimize their returns. So both the clients have different set of challenges when it comes to individuals and business owners.
I think you're absolutely right. One of the big mistake people make is they just open a corporation as a self-employed
Yeah.
and they don't take tax advice or they don't
Yes.
sit down with a financial advisor for a year, 2 years. And some people we see as a mortgage broker, we ask them, have you done your taxes? And they say, no, it's still pending for 2 years. And
Yes.
then it's like, it's probably too late. And when you're going to file your taxes, you're going to be hammered with $30,000, $40,000 in some cases,
Yes.
penalty or taxes. And that's
Yeah.
a big make or break deal for some business owners, right?
Definitely. And getting that amount of cash
Mhm.
at the end of 2 years, it's very difficult. You
It's
need to
very
set
difficult.
aside
Yeah.
funds.
You need to set aside every month some
Yes.
funds so that you can pay the CRA, right?
Yes.
Or maybe quarterly, if better,
Yes.
depending upon the business size, right?
Definitely. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. So, what advice you would give to any new business owners? Any tips you would like to share?
The first thing is when you start a new business, people often overlook this thing that you have to have a proper bookkeeping, record keeping. It's so much essential because what happens is when you start a business, there are a lot of costs that go initially. You need to have a proper record of it. You're going to claim those expenses. If your business has GST liability, you can claim input tax credit for this. So instead of at the end of the year going to a CPA and saying that, I want to file my taxes, this is my bank statement. Go ahead of the curve. Talk to your consultant ahead. Keep a record of all those transactions so that you can claim the benefits. And I think the second most important thing that you need to do is talk to your tax consultant and set aside funds for your tax liability. Instead of doing a post-mortem review, try and see what would be your tax liability based on your estimated revenues, what would be your GST liability, because if it's a new business, you're probably going to file your taxes at the end of the year, and at that time getting that cash flow of a huge amount, it's going to be challenging. So very important to keep records, very important to set aside funds for your tax liability, get to know your filing deadlines. And one thing that we advise all our clients is keep your personal and your business expenses separate. Get a credit card which is solely used for your business purpose. Use it for all your business expenses. It's very easy when it comes for a CRA review. You have everything with you at one place.
One mistake that you see every business owner or entrepreneur making, expenses that they do out of their business which they shouldn't do.
I think when it comes to that, sometimes, they're out and they have left their personal credit card because they are out on a business trip or something. And they use their business credit card for personal expenses. At the end of the year, segregating those things, it's very difficult. Now, if there is a CRA review, if you're submitting your bank statements, and if it's a clean bank statement with all the expenses that are related to just your business, it's very much easier for the submission purpose. It's very much easier to track it through your bookkeeping or your record keeping. So always make sure that only business expenses go through your business. One or two isolated cases are okay, but having just one credit card and using it for both purposes, I think it's not something that I would advise my clients.
Can we do groceries out of the business expenses?
I wish. That is something I get asked a lot, but no, I think you'll have to keep it segregated, because in case of a CRA review, you need proper documentation. Just credit card statements won't work. You will have to have supporting receipts, again, in the name of a business. So I think it's a big no-no.
What about the Costco shopping?
Oh,
Because that could be a mix of business expenses and house expenses,
house expenses.
right? So how does that mix come into the picture?
I think it's a very valid question. I understand that. And what happens is we have had, there are a lot of businesses that have GST audits. And when it comes to an audit, what happens is even a small walk-in Costco bill doesn't work. CRA requires that you have your corporation, membership, a business card, and then you have to have those things ascertain that this is for business purpose. So, few $100s here and there, it doesn't matter. But if you're talking about a huge business with huge expenses, like you have an office, of course you're going to go to Costco to get your supplies for your office, which is okay. And if like $20-$50 here and there for your home, that's all right. But I don't think it should be a regular practice, because when the amounts go up, when the GST credit goes up, the expenses are piling up, there will be an audit.
So I guess I'm hearing use the common sense,
Yes,
right?
yes.
So as long as the overall picture makes sense, right?
Yes.
You're making 100,000 on your business and you're spending 30,000 on Costco, 20,000 on Costco. That doesn't make sense, right?
That doesn't make sense.
If you're making 100,000 a year and you're spending 3,000-4,000, you're claiming that out of Costco bill, or overall, that's more that's
okay.
more likely that's gonna fly.
Yeah.
How often should people review their finances, especially as a business owner?
Well, as a business owner, I would say that if it's a small corporation where you have very fixed income sources, your expenses are very limited. Even if you look at it once in a year, it's fine. But businesses which have multiple income sources, you have heavy overheads. There is payroll, there is GST liability, there is WSIB. It's extremely important to review your finances on a monthly basis. Payroll liabilities, remittances are to be done on a monthly basis to CRA. Any delay would entail interest penalty. Make sure you review your finances on a monthly basis. On a quarterly basis is like a bare minimum that you have to do. Make sure that you have all your taxes. Quarterly payments are usually very much required for a business from the second year if the tax liability is above $3,000. So review your finances quarterly to see how your business is doing. It will help you not only with your tax liabilities, but to also understand cyclical trends in your businesses. How is it doing? Which months are great? Which months are something where you have to put in some marketing efforts to, boost it up? So I would strongly recommend a quarterly review of the business finance.
So one thing I personally struggle with is budgeting versus forecasting, right? So as a business owner, after all these years, what I see, having done multiple businesses, business never goes on one track, right? It's like a sine wave, right? It goes up and down. We're in a market cycle where everybody's struggling, right? And it is helping me create these podcasts as well. I'm spending my time in creating these podcasts too. So what advice you would give to a new business owner or a seasoned business owner? How can they find a happy medium between the budgeting and forecasting?
I think it's a very good question. People often confuse budgeting and forecasting, thinking it's one and the same. There's a thin line of difference between the two. Budgeting is something like you have a set revenue target, you have a set expense target, and both of them are to get you to your goal number. Like you have a number in mind and you want to reach there. So this is the revenue that you want. This is the expenses that you have to do to get to that magic number. Forecasting is more realistic. It is something wherein you see what you can actually achieve based on the market trends. Both of them are extremely important. Budgeting starts at the start of a business or at the start of a new year of a existing business. You say that, this year I'm going to reach 600K and I'm going to get this revenue from this sources. I'm going to keep my expenses flat at this, and this is my magic profit number. Forecasting is something that you do every month, every quarter. You see that, okay, I was expecting that for this month, this will be my magic number. Didn't happen. So let me adjust my forecasting to see what I budgeted versus what now I can forecast for my future. It's very important to know so that you know where you can make those changes. It will help you to tweak your expenses. It will help you to think which will be your new revenue line that you can focus on. Maybe you need to expand your revenue horizon to reach to your magical number. So budgeting is like once in a year you set your target, but forecasting is something that you have to do every month to see that whether if you're not going to reach to your budgeted number, what would be your realistic
or
number?
can you adjust it?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. And is this something you help with?
Oh, yes. We have a lot of businesses across diverse fields where we help them. Say, for example, if it's a restaurant business, they have a lot of income streams. They have their dine-in customers, they have their Uber, their Skip the Dishes, DoorDash, etc. Multiple income streams. At the same time, they are very heavy on their overheads, their purchases, their expenses. Every month has a different story to tell. So what we do is we help them with their actuals, and then based on the past trends, we help them that this is going to be your realistic number for the coming months. So we help a lot of businesses with those forecasting needs, their budgeting needs, and both of them rely heavily on your actuals, where we track their actuals on a monthly basis and help them with their bookkeeping needs. What's the most rewarding part of your job? Other than your husband working alongside you, you get to keep an eye on him. Yeah, that being the number one thing that I get to work with him very closely. The second most important rewarding thing, the reason why I love this profession is I can help people with their finances. I can help them save their money. When we make a personal tax return, we make it as if we are doing it for our own self. Every penny counts. And there have been cases in past where, say, for example, somebody filed the tax return as a resident when they were supposed to file it as a non-resident. They are already out of Canada. They have severed their ties. And they paid huge taxes, $40,000, $50,000. And they got in touch with us. We took their case. We presented it to CRA. We made representation submissions. At the end of the day, we got that money back. That small feedback from the client saying, I'm so thankful, that smile on their face, making sure that every penny for our client is rightfully owned to them. I think that gives us a great smile at the end. It's a satisfaction, right? Yes. When you help somebody, especially who is stuck in a difficult situation, difficult
pot that gives you eternal happiness,
Yeah,
right?
I think you would relate to it very much
Yeah,
more, because getting people their dream home, it's a
yeah,
big investment,
yeah.
something that they put all their financings in. So I think, you are one of the person they are going to have that financial impact for life.
So I used to do photography. I do now mortgage brokerage. I have a mortgage brokerage. I do real estate. It's a passion for me, right?
Yeah.
And somehow I feel it's an art. For
Yeah.
accounting, it's all numbers.
Yes.
Like, is it a art or is it a science?
I think it's a bit of both. It's science because there are a set rule of principles that we follow. There are universally accepted principles. There is IFRS, there is GAAP. You use them to classify transactions, to present financial data. But I think it's a bit of both, because it's also an art. There is a lot of professional judgment involved. What happens is, classification is one thing, but valuation is where majority of the things lie. Valuation of assets, liability, making sure that you understand the data, you interpret the data, and present it in a manner that is easily understandable to a person who has no accounting background. That is where the art lies. So I think it's a balance of both, where you use principles to present it in a way, but interpretation is an area where you require the art.
Any shady practice in accounting you would like to highlight, or where people get stuck later on, something unethical that people should avoid? Anything you would like to highlight?
We just discussed that, accounting is both. It's a science, there are
Mhm.
principles, it's an art, there's a professional judgment involved. Now, when there's a professional judgment involved, there's always going to be a scope of something unethical. There are very high ethical standards expected from an accountant across countries, but there have been cases in Wall Street where, firms, they want to show a very good picture, a rosy picture. They show huge revenues, but they either capitalize the expenses or defer their expenses to show that, the company is doing good. So those practices have been there, and there have been huge penalties for it. It's definitely not ethical, and that's why every accountant has to work in a way that is, ethically right. So the shareholders, people who are reading the statements as a layman, they can understand it. So few of those practices where there is professional judgment involved, there is a scope of, being unethical, but I think every CPA tries their best to, have a morality which is above that.
I'm sure there are a lot of financial loopholes. So one thing we recently heard when Donald Trump came into the U.S. presidential elections, and there was a lot of discussion around he has not been paying taxes. He was very open about it as well. How does that work? A billionaire not paying taxes? Like it boggles my mind.
I know. I think what happens is, when it comes to taxation, every country has very strict rules, laws. Talking about Canada, I think, here as well, there are very strict deadlines for corporation tax returns, for your company annual returns. You have to be on top of it. There have been cases in past. Uh, it's a simple annual return, where you have to file with the company registration, saying that, the company is active. This is the shareholder, and the registered office is situated here. People have skipped it, and there have been chances where the company is running, there are huge revenues on, but it's just dissolved. It's not there anymore. And then you have to go back, pay penalties, and request that, can you please reinstate my company back? So I get what you're saying, that a lot of big people talk about this stuff, but I'm telling you that even the smallest error will result in huge penalties and interest. And that's why we always ask all the businesses to be, be top on your compliances. We make sure that we tell them that this is your deadline, please try and make sure that you make payments before this. It's very important, so that you can have that peace of mind to work on, just your business and don't think about compliance.
Don't think about compliances. So, in a nutshell, what I'm hearing is you might not get stuck now with the CRA or with the IRS, but you could get stuck in the future, right?
Yes.
So, one or the other way, they're going to hunt you down.
Oh, yeah, definitely. That's going to be there. It may not happen today, but it will happen eventually.
There's a lot of talk going on I've been hearing on social media around capital gain taxes as well. A lot of people, they don't really report their capital gain taxes. Is that legal, and can you skip capital gain taxes in Canada
No, it's not. It's definitely,
whenever you sell property, basically?
yeah, it's definitely not legal. When you say capital gains, I think it's different for every individual based on their tax profile. If it's your first time that you're having your own home and when you sell it, at that time it's a different story. So capital gain is something that is that has huge tax liability.
It mainly kicks in for the investment properties,
Yes.
not for the owner occupied properties,
Yes.
right?
Again, there is a very thin line between, having it as a business income, whether having it as a capital gain. There are a lot of different things that you need to think about when you report it as a capital gain or as a business income. First time home buying, it's a completely different thing. So there is no way to skip it. And a CRA has really tight deadlines on all of those things. Like you need to report it when you sell it. You have to make sure that you report that this was your first home. When you sell it, you have to make sure that tell them that this is your home, that you got it. You have to fill a lot of forms on that side. So you cannot skip your capital gain taxes.
Okay, good to know. So AI is impacting, I think, every business big time. It is helping me being more productive in being a mortgage broker and a realtor. And actually for the podcast as well, we take a lot of help from AI. Has the AI changed the accounting world as well?
Definitely. I think AI is here to stay, and the efficiency, the time saving that we see from AI, it's huge. There are a lot of new softwares that are coming in the market that can help us, because when you look at bookkeeping, when you look at accounting, there are a lot of jobs that are very important but repetitive in nature. They require a lot of time, and AI can help us automate that. So we can invest more time in interpreting the data, in valuation of the data, in analyzing the data. So I think the initial cost is a bit on a higher side. So we are trying to invest on it, and we have to get ahead of the learning curve. It is here to stay, and we have to make most of it.
What's your brutal advice on crypto? And from an accountant point of view, not from the personal point of view.
As an accountant, I would say that only if you're ready to lose the money that you're investing, go for it.
I've lost the money.
Yeah, I know. And it's like buying a lottery ticket, I believe.
Yeah.
If you have something spare that you want to spend on and you can just forget about it, go ahead and do it. There is zero investor protection on it. The risk is very high. So only people who have a very huge risk appetite go for it. So as an accountant, if you ask me, something which has no investor protection, something which is very volatile, only invest if you're ready to lose.
Has social media or TikTok ruined the financial world, ruined the real financial advice?
I think it has helped a lot of people to get to terms with financial jargons, get to know some very technical terms when it comes to accounting and taxation. People know FHSA, RRSP, TFSA. So I think it has brought in quite a bit of awareness. However, I would strongly advise not to act upon anything that you see on social media. You see a reel showing that, invest in RRSP, you will save a lot of taxes, you will have a heavy refund. Don't invest unless you talk to your financial advisor or your CPA. You need to understand if it's right for you. You're going to buy a home in future. Instead of RRSP, maybe first time home saving account is a better option. Your funds would be locked in for a period of time. You need to understand if it's the right choice. You see something saying that, you can get refunds up to $5,000 if you file with us. It's wrong on so many levels. You see a number, it may not be applicable for you. You need to understand your tax profile, whether you're eligible for it. So it's a good place to get some information, but don't act upon it unless you have a professional advice.
Yeah, I see so many people on TikTok. They are not even CPA, not even financial advisors, and they're giving advice to people
Yeah.
and they put a small blurb at the end. This is not a financial advice, but
Advice.
it doesn't really help everyone. And then some
Yes.
people could get into a trap, right?
Trap. Yeah.
There's a person, he's very famous on TikTok, John Johnson, kind of guy, and he talks about capital gain taxes all the time. Like, you don't have to report in Canada. I have done this for 30 years. And like, he has a huge following, and people are falling into the trap. And the person is sitting offshore in some other country, and then they're giving financial advice, and people are falling into it, right? There's so many scams going on online. You have to pick your battle, right? Take it with a grain of salt. You can't, everything you hear on social media might not be true.
Might not.
Right?
It's just there for a little bit of an education purpose, so that you can, ask or have a discussion with your advisor. But acting on it, I would strongly recommend people. It's like visit a doctor if you're sick. You just can't look on a TikTok video and say that, oh, I have cough and cold.
Mohita, it's been fun asking you all these questions. I personally learned a lot today, and I'm sure our viewers learned a lot as well. I have a personal question. You were so famous on social media. You were doing amazing with your Instagram, Canada Tales by Mohita, right?
Yes.
You have, I think, close to 100K following. Why did you stop? I enjoyed your videos.
I started as a part-time vlogger while I was working, but I eventually didn't have a lot of time to invest on it, because everybody who is on social media, they know it is a part-time thing, but it's more like a full-time thing. It takes a lot of time, and I just didn't get time from my work. I have beautiful twin daughters. They are 6 years old. So I thought I was juggling a lot. So I think I took a step back from social media, and now I think I haven't visited a page since like a year or so.
To be honest, I think as a business owner, you're very blessed if you don't have to be on social media and you're continuing to do great things. Then it's amazing. Otherwise, like, the social media is kind of becoming a norm and must-have thing for everyone, right? Who wants to be a self-employed individual, right?
Definitely, and I think it's a very strong platform. It helps people to connect and to get some knowledge. Like I said, TikTok or Instagram, it's a great place to learn about few financial things, tax tips, and everything that you can discuss back with your professional. So never know, I may go back to it, but right now it has taken a back step.
We'll get you back on Instagram, especially with these videos.
Oh, thank you so much.
Well, it's been a pleasure, Mohita, not only for coming to our studio, having this talk, but also for helping us out with our finances for all our business ventures.
Thank you so much, Supreet, for giving us the opportunity. It has been an absolute pleasure.
Pleasure is mine. Thank you.
Thank you so much.